Good morning, everybody. It is 6 o'clock here where I am when I'm shooting this. I've been up since 3 a.m. this morning. This is something that has been happening recently. It's just waking up really early before the sun is up. Um, I'm sure if you're watching this channel, you've also gone through these cycles where you're just up at 3, you're getting 3 and 4 o'clock wake ups and just unable to go back to sleep. And that's what's been happening. So rather than resist that, I got up and I meditated, and I thought I would kind of just share with you guys for day 34 of my 100 day self-connection experiment. I thought I would just give like a real authentic, just share about what's really going on in these meditations, what's going on internally, the challenges, the benefits, just everything that I'm experiencing, just just kind of give you guys all of it without holding anything back about specifically the meditations and Kundalini. The first thing is that the deeper we go inwards, yes, the more we fall into this deep peace and the more our awareness just starts really expanding. But also, the more that the mind and the ego, it really starts to throw some haymakers at you because it senses it's losing more and more of its grip, more and more of its control, and so you'll be in this place of deep peace, but then suddenly, really, a lot of darkness can arise instantly out of nowhere. And it can just kind of, it doesn't, the thing is, it doesn't jolt you anymore because you have a deeper connection to, you're more deeply integrated, but the thoughts can just surge up out of nowhere and they can be super brutal and dark in nature. And you can just be kind of like, what the hell is that? Because you have more space from them, so you can see them. Like, they don't make you feel as much. Like, you don't feel the darkness of the thoughts as much. You don't feel the fear or the anxiety. Like, I don't want to give examples because they can be super dark, and I don't want to. These videos aren't to freak anyone out, but like, just if you've probably had intrusive dark thoughts, they can still happen, but the nature of them is so different. So they don't have the same power over you, but it's almost like the mind knows it's losing its grip, so it like tries even harder to get your attention. Like, here, listen to me. Don't keep following. It'll tell you, don't keep meditating. You're going to lose your mind. That's the big one. That's what it really is. The mind is like, look, if you keep doing this, you don't have the centeredness or the grounding you're not grounded enough to be able to integrate all of this light that's coming in. And that's the thing that's really been having an impact on me, is all the light that's coming in. It's having a variety of symptoms. I get like really cold, like deep bone chills sometimes to where I can't warm up. But then conversely, like before I know it, I'm like sweating, and like I'll wake up just drenched in sweat, and it's just going back and forth. It's like the sweating is like purging, and then the chills are like when the body is becoming more of a crystalline body. I feel when it's really coming online into like different dimensions, and the cellular structures like really changing. I don't know these things. It's just what I feel, it's my own experience. It's my own truth in this moment. And this might change. It always is changing, right? And I just feel like it's a pretty, like, rapid energy shifts more so too. Like, you can just feel the flow of not only your own inner state, but everything around you. You're so much more connected through just being in meditation. I started this self-connection journey wanting to meditate for 2 hours every day. But it's turned into like some days 4 or 5 hours, just turning my phone off for long periods of time and just really making it what my whole life's about. And so this has brought about such a deepening of a connection to the universe. And through that deepening, you just feel so much more. You feel of everything so much more, But because you're more deeply rooted in your being, you're able to have the centeredness or the ability to feel it without being overwhelmed by it most times. Yesterday I was going through surges of creativity and connection to then just laying in bed in the fetal position, completely surrendered and allowing and just letting like a wave of heaviness, of like lifelessness just wash through me. And that's kind of what this has been for me, is a very crazy up and down journey of energy, of learning how to adapt and integrate more light, more energy, more awareness, more, I guess, wisdom, understanding life in a deeper way, and then how that fits into my movement in it. And like, I hope this is making sense. It seems like it is making sense to me. And the other thing is the Kundalini, and it's like the Kundalini has been asking for silence and stillness the whole journey, but I've been so unwilling to give it long periods of silence and stillness without distractions, because it can get intense, right? The energy can really feel overwhelming when we meditate. And that's been a big thing, is the Kundalini is like now just so a part of me that I don't even notice the symptoms as symptoms. I just think that's just me. So when I'm having, the chills, when I'm having crazy ear popping sensations, when I'm seeing flickers of light, when I'm feeling just like maybe a little bit of burning, like a chakra opening more, when I feel the Kundalini energy in my head, when I feel it in my body, I don't even think anymore like as something separate of like that's the Kundalini integrate. No, it's just like, it feels like these meditations have helped it so deeply integrate that it's just me now. It's not even a separate thing. It's just like more of a merged type of experience where it's just me and the Kundalini. It's not me and the Kundalini anymore. It's just me. Like I don't even, and that's, I think I've been talking about Kundalini a lot less lately. And it's just because I don't even think of my process anymore in that way. I don't think of it as like a Kundalini awakening as much. I just think of it as ascension, as awakening, as unity consciousness, as integrating light. I think of this process more in that type of sense. And so that's been fascinating to experience, about how sometimes I'll just like think about what is a Kundalini awakening and what is just awakening in general. And because I know, and then I'll remember vividly like the energetic overwhelm that I was going through, and I don't know, and I still have that sometimes, but it's not the same. It's not the same. It's like I'm experiencing it all from a deeper place, to where I can get overwhelmed with energy in a sense, but I don't feel like it's some separate type of force, I just feel like, I don't know, it's like one thing now, or I'm the space in which it all happens now, and before I wasn't. I was not the space in which it all happens. I was the space, and I was the thing to which it was happening to, right? And the space was something that maybe I was grasping for or intellectually knew, but hadn't ever had the courage to face my feelings long enough to ever connect with for long enough to know that that's what I was. And now through meditation, I know that I'm that space in which it's all happening. So when it's happening, I don't know, I don't label it as much. I don't get identified with that, the symptoms, the Kundalini movements, I don't think about it in that way anymore, if this is clear. I just think about like, well, first of all, I don't know what I even think about anymore, because it's hard to even remember things anymore. Here's an example. So I will write a lot, and then I'll just be like, that might work sometime that's good writing. You know, I'll write something, I'm like, that's good writing, and I'll save it for later. And then I'll just create a pile, like a pile that I usually in the past have gone through and then like, oh, this works here, I can put this together, this will be a blog post, whatever. And now I'm just realizing I have a pile like this big or something, like a stack of writing, and I just refuse to like go through it and look at it because here's the thing, it's just gone. It's just gone to me now. All that work, all that writing, it's gone. The only thing that is ever important now, it seems, is like what's right now. And so I'm realizing like if I want to do a blog post, if I want to write something, it has to be right now. Because right now is like more and more everything, and like linear time doesn't seem to, like what happened yesterday, I don't really even know. And nor do I care. You see, you know, and where I'm going to be a year from now, 6 months from now. Sometimes the mind likes to play that game, likes to project out. If I do this, this, and this, maybe I can be here, you know. But now it's just like I see the futility of that, and I see that the more present we are, like the more presence we have, the more we bring to each moment, the more that presence builds, and the more, you know, expansive our quote unquote future will be. So it's all just about being here, just being here. And the future will take care of itself, because the future is just going to be a manifestation of you always being here. And if you're always here, then you're going to have a lot of presence, and your presence is going to be able to hold a lot of space, and the space is going to call in a lot of beautiful experiences. And so it's all about, are you present now, or are you in the story of the mind? So yeah, lots of symptoms, but not really identifying with them. So not even really knowing, you know, what to call them, how to even talk about them. Lots of just fast moving energy. That's the one thing I can tell you from these long meditations with active Kundalini energy. It's just so fast. You know, right when I moved back to the prairie, I could barely meditate for 10 minutes at a stretch, because so much energy would come up and it would just overwhelm my body, my human mind. And it would just be too much. And it would be like, every time I'd have like a psychic opening, meaning like I'd get lost in a psychic phenomena, like I'd spin in a chakra, or like energy would just feel like it was shooting. I mean, it would be really intense and scary. And it would be like another couple days before I could ground and integrate. So, and that was just 10 months ago, you know? And now, after meditating for over 2 hours every single day, I feel like, geez, things just are moving so fast internally for me that it's hard. It's not hard, it's just like, every moment is so intense. and every day is so, I just feel like so much happens, and it's bewildering at times. So, you know, when we have a Kundalini awakening, we have an idea of the path it's going to set us out on. And we can read about and listen to other people's stories, and that's comforting, and that gives us like a positive frame of mind and reference point, right? Because we can see, oh, look, they're doing beautiful work. They turned into, it seems like, a great person. Looks like the Kundalini really worked out for them. Because in the beginning, we just want to know that the Kundalini will work out, right? And then when we go on our own journey, we start seeing how, yes, our journey parallels others' experiences, but then how we start kind of like letting go of any other person's experience or any other person's words about it. And it just becomes our own thing. Like, I don't really read, like lately, I just haven't read anything spiritual. I'll listen to, like, you know, a Matt Kahn video here and there. Craig Holiday, my teacher, here and there, you know, and so I don't know, more and more, it's just been like, what is my own voice saying? What is my own internal knowing saying? And I don't much need to know everything's going to work out anymore. I used to always need to know, is everything going to work out? Am I going to be okay? Is the Kundalini process going to, you know, lead to something that I'm going to enjoy, or like lead to a life that's going to be fine? Like, am I going to survive this, you know, in a very physical way? And now it's like, I don't need the reassurances, because it's not that I don't care. It's just that, it's not the most important thing, I guess, anymore. It's hard to explain. Like, the human aspect to me is like honored, and of course I take care of it and I nourish it and I love it as much as I can. But I'm not seeing it the same way. I'm not seeing my human aspect through the same perception. I'm just seeing that it's a temporary structure that is to be honored, like I said, and loved and cherished and, you know, respected, but also just seeing that it's temporary, and where does that fit into my ultimate nature? And what is this, you know, ultimately, is this experience, what's it even about? If it's about, you know, is it about just discovering your infinite nature in a temporary body, and then seeing what kind of impact you could make from a perspective of infinite in a temporary reality that's also has its own infinite cosmic connection to your infinite nature? Can we I don't know. You know, I see it's and this is the thing about it. It's so much new stuff coming in that it's hard for me to even put words to right now. It'll come. I know it will integrate. You know, this is day 34. There's going to be not only 2 more months, over 2 more months of these videos, but I'm only a third of the way done. But also the rest of my life, you know, has been altered significantly in these last 34 days. Like, the trajectory of where I was before meditating for 2 hours every day compared to like where it's going now. And I don't want to say it's like better or higher or whatever. It's just different, so much different. Like, before these 34 days, I really, truthfully, if I'm being honest, the most important things were like outer achievements still, with some inner, you know, of course, some inner awakening potentials that were very important to me as well. But now it's like, what is important? I'm redefining what's important to me. I'm redefining my priorities. I'm redefining everything. Before these 34 days, if you would have asked me to go sit in a cave for a week, I would have said, there's no way, I'm not even close to ready for that, and I have so much to do. Right now, it's just like, I could just go, I mean, it'll still be very hard, but sitting in a cave just seems like so much of an opportunity now. Whereas before these 34 days, if you would have told me you have to go sit in a cave for a week, I would have said, that seems like not a waste, but just like not. And nothing in me would have been interested in that. I would not have seen the evolutionary potential of that in the way I see it now. Like, now it's just like, yes, I get it. I get now, after meditating for 2 to 5 hours a day for over a month, I get now why some people do choose that, to go sit in a cave. I got it intellectually before because I could hear mystics and yogis and enlightened people talk about it, and I was like, yeah, I guess if that makes sense. And now I actually get it in my body. In my body, I see why someone would choose that, to just go somewhere for a week and not open their eyes, you know? I get that. And this is an interesting kind of place that I find myself in, because it's like, the more I choose to go inward, the more that the Kundalini integrates, and the more that the Kundalini integrates, the more I feel my infinite nature, but the more I also feel the initiative, the evolutionary purpose of the Kundalini to ground into planet Earth, to heal Gaia, to heal, this evolutionary reality, to integrate this evolutionary reality into oneness, into a heavenly divine realm. That's the essence of the Kundalini awakening experience, is to become a light worker, to bring light, to do your inner work so that you can bring light to this planet. And so there's that infinite pull that the meditations are bringing out in me to fall into my space of awareness, to rest there, to really transcend the experience of the body and the personality and the personal will, and every day I'm seeing like my body differently. I look at my body. That's one of the big things of meditating for long periods every day is like seeing my body as a divine body more and more every day, seeing my body as a cosmic body, seeing like, what is this thing, like how am I, knowing like that my body comes from the light, and like I'm just like radiant light everywhere that is choosing to be in a body temporarily, and I can feel that more and more, like, geez, I am not this body, but yet it feels more like, I guess, comfortable because it feels so light. It feels like a feather. My body feels like a feather lately. So the point I was making is, so we have this cosmic connection that comes in, that we feel our vastness and our infiniteness and how we are just light, and how this is temporary, and our true essence has, is in a way very removed from this experience of the body. What a funny thing to be in a body, to be a divine spirit, but to be in this kind of like this animal body. It doesn't feel like that to me anymore at all. Well, sex, right? Fuck. But also that impulse, that evolutionary movement to ground all of this light, to ground into this experience, into this human experience fully. To be in the world but not of it, and to be fully in it, to be fully emotionally available for it, to be fully willing to feel it all, to be open to anything, right? And so there's this compulsion, there's just this necessity, like, to serve and to keep working, and like my work now is changing. Like I used to like need to, I don't know, motivate myself or something. Not always, but what I'm saying is the work is more effortless, but I'm so much less attached to it, right? I care, I love it, it's fun. I'm connected to it, but at the same time, I just see it as like, it's not who I am. It's not my identity nearly like it used to be. I used to be like, not even that long ago. Jeez, it's only been 34 days. I'm talking like it's been like years or something. But yeah, I used to be super wrapped up in my work. And I go in and out of this too, right? But it just seems in this moment, it just seems like there's a duty. Like the reason things are getting done through me is it's just a duty. It's just something that is happening through me, and it's not even me. I'm not doing any of this anymore. I'm not doing it. And I see that, and I read that in the Bhagavad Gita, and I liked it, and it felt good, but I didn't know that to be true. Like we're not the doer. And now I feel that. I just like, when I'm doing things, when I'm moving throughout the day, because the thing is now, meditating for longer periods of time, I care so much less, but I do so much more. It's really kind of an interesting phenomena. And so when I'm moving throughout the day, I can just feel like the impersonal movement of it. Like, this isn't me. And that helps me to not attach, and it just helps me to open more to letting it come through me. The Kundalini, the source, God, the universe. evolution, whatever you want to call it, it just feels like it just moves me, and I don't have to ask myself to do anything anymore, and it just kind of happens on its own. And yeah, things are just happening, and I just wanted to share and kind of give you guys everything. I'm trying to think if this is the hardest part, okay? Not being able to put words to it is hard for me, because I want to be able to share, but I just can't quite, put it in the right way yet. And I'm getting a little bit, it's becoming more accessible to me every day, the words, the metaphors, the analogies of what's happening within, so that I can actually paint an accurate picture. So I've been talking for a long time, and because I just feel like I'm not saying this right. And that's hard, because I want to help, I want to, I don't know. I want to just give you guys my experience so clearly, but it's not possible. It's just not possible right now. And I think, as I get closer, to use this to help as a yardstick for now, as I get closer to day 100, it's like this. I can speak about my first week of meditation very clearly now, whereas when I was in my first week of it, I couldn't comprehend what was going on. So much like that, on day 100, I'll be able to talk about what was going on today and up until today, like day 30 and 40, very clearly. But probably on day 100, I won't be able to speak clearly about what's happening on day 100. So I'm trying to speak about what's happening right now, and what's happening is it's still so jumbled and like spacey, and disorienting. But I don't know. I hope that this was worth your guys' time. 27 minutes of a podcast. We'll call it a podcast. Day 34. Namaste.